Hello everyone, I'm Paromita, your host, welcoming you all to Mirpur Language Institute's weekly program, 30 Minutes with MLI. In this program, we try to talk about foreign languages, its assessment process, and how you can be benefited by learning these languages. Our today's topic is challenges of practicing IELTS speaking. Today we have with us Mr. Ashikuzzaman. He is the Managing Director of English and Global Study Basecamp Limited. We also have with us Mansura Mahmuda. She is the founder and director of Mirpur Language Institute. She is also a PhD scholar at Nagaland University. Welcome, Ashikuzzaman sir and Mansura Mahmuda ma'am. Thank you for joining us with us today.
Thank you, Paromita.
Thank you. Thank you, Paromita. Thank you, Mansura, Apu, for inviting me.
You're welcome.
Ashikuzzaman sir, would you like to share your career and educational background with our audience?
Thank you. Well, I started my language teaching journey in Cyprus. I was the language trainer over there. I conducted classes of IELTS, spoken, pronunciation, grammar and writing, and other language courses as well. So after that, I joined Cadet College as a lecturer in Jaipur Girls Cadet College. And in 2017, I joined Independent University as an adjunct faculty. And the next 5 years, I joined ULAB, Southeast University, State University, and Victoria University as a adjunct faculty in English department. Apart from these, I worked for two multinational companies. One is Ernst & Young LLP India. I was the soft skills consultant of Ernst & Young LLP India for the LICT project. And I joined Wadhwani Foundation last year as the for the soft skills consultant of Southeast Asia. And then I started my own company last year in December.
Wow, very impressive, sir. Sir, in Bangladesh, many of us understand English very well. We can read it, we can write it as well. But when we have to communicate in English, many of us feel very uncomfortable. Sometimes we feel very shy. So as a result, what happened is, many of us, even though after having a good understanding of English and even though after having rich vocabularies, many of us cannot perform well in IELTS speaking section. So my first question to you is, what do you think are the common challenges that task takers encounter while practicing IELTS speaking?
Well, there are a wide range of challenges a student face while giving or taking the IELTS test, especially the speaking one. The number one is in our curriculum, in our school college curriculum, there is no speaking. Hence, there is a lack of practice. And this actually cost a lot to the learners and the test takers. This is number one. Number two is proper practice, the proper guidance. They don't know actually what to do and what to learn. Most of them actually cram some answer and try to memorize them and try to speak in front of this, examiner with that limited resources. And this is another problem. And the final one, I would like to say, students want to take the IELTS test within very short time, and they don't take much preparation. As a result, they do not focus on the language skills, rather than they focus on tips and tricks. That's why they are not getting their desired score in IELTS speaking.
Yeah. As you said, in our school, we only practice English grammar and how to implement them. And we, in fact, we in fact practice how to write essays, paragraphs, but we rarely, practice speaking. So, how one can improve his English speaking skills?
Well, there are a lot of ways. There are a lot of ways to learn a second language. I would like to say, do not follow any type of strategies that are not backed by science. Well, there are a lot of researches are going on currently, and there have been a lot of researches. So if we take how to learn second language, Stephen Krashen in 1993 gave a very profound methodology in his monitor model. So I would like to ask our students to follow the monitor model to learn any language, be it English, be it Arabic or French. Why? Because English is not our native language. We cannot learn our mother tongue and another native tongue in the same way. Learning a first language and learning a second language is not the same process. They are two different, distinct processes. So we should know what are the process of learning a second language. So in monitor model, Stephen Krashen said, first, one should have proper input. I mean, graded material, listening, and graded material of reading. Number two, one must have a monitor who will guide him, who will correct him, or who will give the proper guidance how to improve one's language skills. The next one is acculturation. So one has to know the culture of America, of the native speakers, the British or American, because the language actually belongs to them. So what are the correct uses of the words or vocabulary is depends on how the native speaker is using. Number four is what is said, that is called affective filter. That is, if you don't need English in your daily life or in your professional purpose, you won't learn that language. So there must have some kind of need behind learning the language. So this is the way one should actually learn the language. And then finally, rather than learning, Isha said that rather than learning, practicing. I mean, that is called, learn by practice. Okay, not learn by just learning the rules of the language. That won't help actually. You better submerge yourself in the language. So you must use a number of, in the language, the target language, you must use in the different situation. Then you will learn different usage of the language. Okay.
Oh, sir, you were talking about one technique. What was that? I missed that.
Which one?
Something starts with M. I didn't catch that.
That is monitor model. Monitor. I mean, one must have a teacher or guide.
Okay.
A monitor who will actually monitor his or her progress or faults, shortcomings, and he or she must be guided through this monitor.
I understand. Sir, is there any...
Here I want to say something. Our focus is actually challenges. What are the challenges our students are facing for practicing speaking, IELTS speaking?
Okay. So in IELTS speaking, so in IELTS speaking, the main three challenges I would like to say is, number one is vocabulary. Well, in IELTS speaking, there are four criteria for marking, as we know. One is lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, and fluency and coherence, and the other one is pronunciation. The first one that most of the students in IELTS exam face is the lack of vocabulary. The lack of vocabulary, the lexical resource actually ranges a number of topics. It's not only discrete vocabulary. There is collocation, there is style of the language. I mean, it's formal, whether it is formal or informal languages, use of phrases and idioms, uses of topic-wise vocabulary. So this is the problem that I find in the most of the cases in our students. They lack a lot of vocabulary in their speaking. This is number one. Number two, they focus too much on pronunciation. Or better to say accent, not pronunciation. They put too much
focus on accent.
Focus on accent. They want to sound like the British or American. Accent and pronunciation are not the same thing. Pronunciation is the correct, that is RP, receive pronounces, the correct way to pronounce any word. And the accent is the way someone talks. So my pronunciation is, my accent will be different from yours. The people of Dhaka pronounce Bangla in a different way. They have different accent than those of Joshua or Norail. Okay, so people may have different accent, but pronunciation should be clear. So student focus in wrong thing. They should go for the speaking marking criteria. That is pronunciation, correct pronunciation. And there are two types of pronunciation mistake, I would say. One is global mistake and the other one is local mistake. For example, if I say schedule instead of schedule or schedule, it's somewhat okay because you can communicate it with the word schedule. So you'll get say 7.5 with these pronunciation. But if you say keys rather than keys, then it's a big problem. The meaning of the sentence actually changed. So that's called global error. So we should focus on only those errors, which is global, that changes the meaning of the sentences. Okay. And third one is students do not understand the question. And that's why they give actually, they're giving wrong answer, irrelevant answer. These are the three most important challenges that students are facing nowadays.
It's lack of comprehension, right?
Correct. They cannot understand what this, the test examiner actually want.
Yeah, the context they don't understand, the question context.
Absolutely.
Sir, as you were talking about question context, IELTS speaking topics can be diverse, right? How do you prepare for topics that you are not familiar with or something that is outside of your comfort zone?
Well, there's two things. One thing is, in IELTS, 99.99% topics are common because it is designed to be common. Right. My first point is that because the IELTS test is designed to see your communication skills in English in a familiar situation, or this kind of situation is faced by you or the test takers abroad. So most of the topic, 99% topics are very common. The second thing, even if the topic is difficult or unknown, and we don't have any idea, if we have enough vocabulary, we have fluency, we have correct pronunciation, we may not have correct information, but still we can get a good score. Because if you watch the, if you look up the marking criteria band descriptor, you will see when you have content, lack of content, you still get 8. So to get 7+, you don't have to need too many information in your head. Your language skill will do the rest. Okay?
Sir, earlier you were talking about pronunciation, and if I'm not wrong, marking also depends on pronunciation as well. So my question to you is, what role pronunciation play in IELTS speaking, and how do you address these aspects in your practice?
Well, I told them not to focus on accent first. Next, I teach them pronunciation through dictionary. Okay, Cambridge dictionary, because 80% of the listening in the IELTS listening is Cambridge, British English. So that's why I prepare. I told them, I always tell them to listen to podcasts, and lots of podcasts, so that they have very good ear to hear, and they must listen to the native speaker a lot. So when they have the native speaker to they're listening to the native speaker, then I tell them to mock them, and that actually work. Okay, so this particular activity helps them to improve their pronunciation. Because if we want to learn pronunciation, the mere pronunciation rules won't help us, because we can't, learn a language by memorizing the rules. Better to mimic them, better to copy them, and make them into practice will help us a lot. So that's my strategy to help them in pronunciation.
So as you were talking about some techniques, or can you share some other techniques or exercise as well, so that one can be benefited?
Well, I would like to say one must video record themselves. Okay? The students should video them, and they should bring the videos or send the videos to the teachers, so that they have the...
At first, they should listen their own voice, right?
Correct. So what they're actually talking about, okay? They can understand their faults quickly in this way. And the other way, most of the tests nowadays are held in computer, Zoom. So when they're recording, they will have a glimpse of their own follies, as well as they will feel what are the necessary things to be done in order to improve themselves. The second one is, while they are sending them to their teachers, their teacher can give them better feedback by watching it again and again.
Right.
Okay. So these two were strategy. This strategy actually worked.
Do you think giving mock interviews are important?
Way too much important. Mock interviews very important, because as I said earlier, there is a lack of practice is the main reason for not getting the good score in answer speaking. And hence, giving mock tests will give you the confidence. The more you're giving mock test in the real scenario, and the mock test will give you the real-time experience, how the exam can be in the real test. So mock test will help you to find your follies, your lack of confidence, and you can correct by getting the feedback from the mock test. So definitely mock test helps a lot.
Sir, one thing I have said earlier, that many people, or I can say many candidates, feel very nervous during speaking test. How one can manage his nervousness?
Well, first thing is that why people get nervous. There are three reasons for getting nervous. Number one, they lack preparation. Number one, that's why they don't have the gut or the courage to face the examiner. Number two, they don't have enough language skills. They focus on just tips and tricks. And number three, they do not have exposure to the real life exam scenario. That means mock test. Okay. So first, right preparation, learning to write contents, and being accustomed to with the exam strategies, exam contents. This is the first thing they have to do. They must know the content, and they should study a number of sample answers, a number of topics, topic-related vocabulary, and make themselves ready for the test. And number three, he or she must go through a number of mock tests, at least 6 or 7, before the exam day. Okay, and this way they can actually, get rid of their nervousness.
Right. Sir, you...
Okay, Paromita, There are other participants, so keep some time for their question.
Okay, sure.
We have other participants.
Okay, sure. I have 2 more questions for sir. Give me 1 minute. Wait 1 second. Sir, are there any resources or online platforms or tools that you find particularly useful for IELTS speaking practice?
Well, there are a number of YouTube channels, including, I think, Mansura has also have YouTube channels and online courses. So I always say, do not go to YouTube. Why? Because YouTube is like a vast ocean. You don't know actually what to avoid and what to accept. And there are all the resources that, in YouTube actually is scattered. So you should practice in a systematic way. So that's why I always say, do not go to YouTube, rather go to a teacher or go to a center and take coaching. You say simple. No, Virat Kohli scored 50 centuries. Still, he has coach. So we are taking our test, which is an international test. We should go to a coach and take proper guideline, because every student is different. So every student's needs are different. So they must be met according to the plan. So that's why I always say to focus on one teacher and follow the teacher and take preparation under his or her guidance.
All right. Sir, you talked about monitor model, right? But I think it's also important to assess your own skill. You need to assess yourself as well. So how one can assess his own performance?
I think I've already answered this question. One has to record him or herself. So when he or she are actually recording him or herself, they have that idea. They can listen to him or her, and they will have the idea of what to do and what not to do, and they will see that how less confident they are in front of the camera, and it will help them to build their confidence. The more you will do the recording, the more you will be confident. So one thing I would like to share with you, one incident. When I was doing CELTA under Cambridge University, so that was my suggestion as well for learning pronunciation. So it was highly appreciated. And nowadays, we don't need to speak in front of mirror, because a mirror will not help you with the feedback. But when you're recording yourself, you can get feedback from your trainer. You can get feedback from yourself as well. Okay, so that's why I always say to record yourself.
All right.
Yes.
So we have some participants here. We have Mr. Baijit, Tapos, Tomal, then so if you have any questions, you can raise your hand and you can ask questions. Do you have any questions?
Dear audience, do you have any questions? Okay, I think they are attentive listeners. They are practicing their listening. Though this is for speaking, but here they are practicing their listening.
Okay, so
okay, one thing I want to ask Ashikuzzaman. You said that students mostly focus on accent rather than correct pronunciation, right? Why it happens? What makes them to do it? What is the influence? For what influence? Which influence?
The social media, I must say. They want to be hero. They want to be someone with a short period of time, not developing their language skills. They want to sound like the British or American, which is absolutely unnecessary. correct pronunciation, if the content is
Sometimes
good,
quite funny.
correct. Yeah, correct. So if the sentences are correct, if the pronunciation is acceptable, then it's okay. Then you will get 7, 8. Absolutely, there is no problem. Indians are getting 9 in IELTS speaking. Am I right? So how are they getting 9 out of 9 in IELTS speaking with this Indian accent? Okay, so it's not the accent. That the accent doesn't have any score. So we should
There
focus
is
on
no marks or score for accent.
Yeah,
There is no mark for that.
absolutely.
Sir, we are at the very end of our program. So I would like to ask, like, do you have any final advice for IELTS candidates?
For IELTS speaking, I must say, so do two things. Okay, one is perfect practice, not practice maximum perfect. Perfect practice maximum perfect. Okay, and do the practice under a coach, not in a solitary mode. So this is my final suggestion to the test takers. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ashik.
Mansura ma'am, please give us some advice, as you are also, very good at this field.
Okay. For speaking, already Ashik said recording voice is very important and not focusing on the accent. Yes. And I will say listening and some topic-wise practicing, like education, transport, the words, vocabulary we will practice. We can go topic-wise. So because in speaking, we can see the cue card, there is a topic, particular topic. So if they practice following the topic, it may help.
Right. Thank you, Ashikuzzaman sir and Mansura Mahmuda ma'am, for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Paromita. Thank you, Ashik, for coming here and giving your advice. Very good advice. I hope we will invite you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.